I have to admit I'm not always sure how seriously to take some of this stuff. I mean, at your level, it's hard to tell if you're trying to be funny or if you're just plain ignorant. I like to give the benefit of the doubt as much as any guy, but come on. Now take this for example. I don't know if you really mean this or if you just did it as a joke so you could give Saul a Napoleon complex. Just in case, though, you ought to know that you're actually right. That description would not be influenced by Saul whatsoever, apart from if he actually was a head taller. Saul didn't control the tradition, the priesthood did, and I might remind you that Saul was pretty well on the outs with that group. If anything, they'd be more inclined to make Saul out to be dishonorable. Anyway, I don't expect someone like you who lives in an air-conditioned home with a toaster and a freezer to understand exactly why ancient warfare was so severe. It may not occur to you that anyone left alive considered themselves duty-bound to take vengeance. I'll link to an article in the vid description that will explain a few hard realities to you. But as a tip, camels and other animals weren't pets. They were the functional equivalent to tanks, rations, and other military supplies. So before you get too incredulous, try living in their world for a while. Oh, one more thing. Have your bug have his asthma looked after. Killing in the name of God, has not historically been a major problem. Religion has been the core cause of very, very few armed conflicts over history. I'll put another link in the vid description for you to get an education from. Meanwhile, quit transplanting your modern obsessions into the past. Oh yeah, that goofy how can God repent and change his mind routine. Baby stuff. I'm God. You think that's how we explain it? Yeah, sheesh. Link, vid description again, okay? Yeah, one other thing you're probably too stupid to think of. By sacrificing these animals himself, Saul wasn't just disobeying an order. He was also showing that he intended to usurp the power and position of the priesthood. He was also putting himself in Samuel's position and declaring that he, Saul, spoke for God. Now, you wouldn't want church and state to be unified, would you, Dark? I didn't think so. Anyway, when you get done with the cutesy soda jokes, look up some stuff about agonistic societies and find out just how serious an offense that really was. You seem to have a problem with wars in the name of God, so I gotta wonder why you didn't have a problem with Saul doing something that advanced towards validating that very proposition. More babyish stuff here. All this from your bug about God coming up with a lame story to protect someone? Well, gee, Dark, sorry, but God isn't obliged to entertain you with pyrotechnics. What, you think God should have erected a glittering Borg force field around Samuel for protection? Why? You just turn around and say that that's yet another miracle that proves that the Bible is a fairy tale. Make up your mind. Now here, quick lesson in pneumatology. I know you got this childlike understanding of things, like hell is a literal place of fire and all, but that's wrong. And so is this. 1 Samuel 16:14 isn't referring to a demonic being. First of all, the word evil is the same one used in Isaiah 45:7, which I talked about in this vid. It doesn't refer to moral evil. It means basically something troubling or calamitous. Second, the word for spirit is the same one that's used to refer to wind, or in more abstract terms, to influence. So what we have here isn't a demon for hire. It's a more abstract kind of thing. And since he hires David to play the harp to cure what ails him, it's more likely that Saul had something like what we call an attack of conscience. Try not to let the omen govern your exegesis, huh? Pretty funny, too. Your scholarship looks like it came off of BuzzFeed. Now, last thing. You think it's an amazing coincidence that Saul sends for David? Not really. You're missing the social science aspect again. David's father was a well-off tribal chieftain. The fact that he could afford to buy a harp for David tells you that much. If Saul called for help from anyone, he was going to call on a member of that very limited class of people, which was less than 1% of the population. Yeah, that's right. David was part of that day's 1%. So no, there's nothing coincidental about this at all. It's the result of limited available choices. That's it for now. I'll get to part 2 later. Meanwhile, you and your fans need to read this to find out why you continue to believe ridiculous things about Christianity even after you deconvert. Pretty mind-blowing. Out of morbid curiosity, after you get done with Samuel's books, any idea what you'll do next?
I was gonna do the book of Hezekiah. Can you tell me where to find that?
Yeah, I'll bet after that he'll do one on 2 Corinthians.